What's good? Welcome back to the channel.
He's just hiding in the corner. This guy have to freaking IT to me, bro. Oh, fuck, man, these guys are such criminals, bro. Whenever someone steals my key, I don't revive them. Like, just out of pettiness. Found all the keys though. He's camping that person's body. Guys, go save that player. Like I was planting the key. Fortunately, I only have my level 1. Oh my gosh, bro. Just plant the damn key. Or cube. We still have the full team alive. But if he kills one more, then he's done for. There goes our level 3. No one's on the time machine as usual. Guy's annoying, man. I'm just gonna turn this game off, man. I'm so sick of these players. I'll never forget this game, bro. I swear.
Officially been lifted, which only now means that you will also be dealing with me here now in battle as well, creature, with the wounded Gohan being shown lifting his head by responding. I knew that he would go and be here, and just in time to go and help us even the playing field out here against those monsters too. And what better timing in having you finally arrive here and helping us, Whis, with Whis being shown having to address Goku and Vegeta by responding. My apologies for not being able to go and arrive any sooner than I just was, but I must go and give you all fair warning that the situation involving these demons is unfortunately now far worse than it was ever shown having to be before just a few hours ago, and so we are to all go and engage and do what we must in order to carry out our plans in fighting to defend the multiverse at all costs before it is too late. And this means in also having us angels enact our duties in breaking our code once more for the sake of doing what is right. And so now that I am here, Whis continues, I return to you all with enough confidence to say that if we don't go and take care of these creatures and are to allow for them to somehow escape, Whis adds, then I'm afraid that we will fall victim to their ultimate plan, which is why we are here to stand together in finishing this before we are to go and reach the point of no return, with Gira having to then chime in, damn that angel, and just where the heck did he just go and spawn in like this from out of nowhere from? For our plans are now under serious danger, especially with Whis being here to defend these mortals alongside his god of destruction, and so we will go and need to be able to come up with an entirely new plan before it is too late. Wait a second, and just what exactly is he holding over there within his hand, Gira questions, for could that truly go and be as to what I think that it might be? Because if it just so happens to be one of those 3 cubes that Lord Raijin is looking for, then, oh, but of course, for we must go and warn Lord Raijin of its current whereabouts immediately. Curse these angel attendees and their blind loyalty in wanting to go and defend these mortal rodents, Jogo adds, for we mustn't now go and leave this up to chance and fight this angel, since even with our combined efforts, we still wouldn't go and come close in being any sort of match against them, and so we must leave this for Lord Raijin to go and handle, since he is by and large far more powerful than any of these angels, and so we must retreat and retreat now, as we are not fully prepared yet in having to go and face off against the angels without having Lord Raijin here present with us in the meantime. And so now hurry and let us all fall back within the demon realm and assembling more warriors to go and join us, along with siphoning off more power to go and feed us before we are to go and return in facing such dangers. But then, it was only just from out of nowhere now on the battlefield right next to Meki Myro, as an unknown vortex was then beginning to swirl under Garlock and having to pull him down, was when the elite demon Meki Mikey Myro then went on to further respond, yes, of course, hurry now, us too then, Garlock, for it would be wise for us to go and avoid conflict against any of these known angel warriors before further actions could be shown being carried out by said angels. And so now, wait a second, and just what is that? This sudden and strange whirlpool of dark and twisted energy, is that yours, Garlock? For what is that? With the surprised Garlock being shown responding, I do not know on what this sudden vortex of dark energy is or where it came from, but this doesn't appear to come from the demon realm here either, and so I can't seem to push back against it, Garlock continues, for it appears to be attempting to try and drag me down beneath its depths, and so I can't seem to be able to use my power along with my magic to try and fight back against it, as I am unable to move and do anything to escape Mekimaro, as its influence appears to also stem from a place that only seems to go very far beyond our own demon realm now here too. And just what do you mean by having to sense this rift being something that goes far beyond the demon realm, Garlock? Mekimaro went on to then further question, and as you should hurry and go and fight your way out of it and break free from this strange vortex and help me complete the mission at hand right now, with Garlock responding, I can't. The force of this strange vortex is making it very difficult for me to respond to its pull, and while I cannot attempt to fight back against it, nor could I go and find a way on how to break myself free, I can't move, with Gira then having to chime in, and just where in the world did that sudden and unknown vortex just spawn from? For its energy signature is unlike anything that I have ever witnessed before aside from Lord Raijan's very own inner nature itself, but how and where does it lead? Gira went on to then further question, as these worms from the 7th couldn't have possibly conjured up such a sudden and unknown bottomless pit like this from out of nowhere now, did they? With Garlock continuing, as the very place of wherever this vortex is seemingly having to take me is unknown, I can't do anything about it to go and break free. And so help me, Dark Lords, help me, as I do not seem to know on where this plans on taking me, as the source of its very signal seems to also be unknown. And so now please do not allow for this unknown vortex to go and take me, Dark Lords. Help me before it's too late. But then it was only just upon with Garlock having to plead for anyone to save him as he suddenly went vanishing down beneath the ground was when Mekimaro then went on to respond, but I don't understand on how this could be. Oh damn it, he's gone, Dark Lords, for I cannot go and detect Garlock's energy signature anywhere. And as with these Saiyans now finding themselves and having to be assisted by that rotten angel Whis and having to go and try to gain the upper hand here against us, unless we are to somehow go and find a way to go and get rid of that rotten angel, then we cannot possibly hope to win like this without the aid of Lord Raijan here to help us, with Jogo responding, oh, this is just bad, because if we would have went and known that Universe 7's angel would go and show his face as quickly as he just did, then we would have simply had went and ended this long before his arrival, as we should have been more careful in having to first finish these creatures off before he went and had arrived here. For we are to ensure that our legion can still remain within the realms of our control, and so we are hereby left with no other choice than to do what we must, Jogo continues, since the tide here between us with that angel having to suddenly arrive here has now shifted within the mortal's favor drastically. And because of this, we must be smart with how and what we choose to go and do now moving forward, especially with Whis here and having to further aid them in battle. And so now hurry, Gira! Hurry while there is still a chance for us to go and retreat, for we must hurry back and forge a new plan of attack while we still can, whilst also informing Lord Raijan about the current situation at hand. And so now let's go! Oh, hold on, wait for me as well, Lord Jogo, Zoro went on to then quickly shout, for you mustn't go and take off without me and having to leave me behind to go and deal with these creatures all by myself now, and so wait. But then it was just within the nick of time as Beast Gohan went as far as to get in the way and having to kick Zoro down onto the ground was when Gohan then went on to further shout, oh no you don't, especially not after everything it was that you had just said. Am I going to go and allow for you to go and simply run away here, demon? And then so you better go and brace yourself and brace yourself for the inevitable fast, cause I'm not going to go and let you out of my sights until you go and pay for everything it was that you had said and done to me, demon. I must go and hurry because whatever happens with the other demons, Gira continues, will not go unpunished by the time we are to go and make our return with Lord Raijin here to go and help us, for this is the only other way that we will be able to safeguard our agenda, and further having to go and make sure that we are all strong enough and with greater numbers and having to go and come back here again. And so, wait, the portal, it's blocked, Gira questions? But how could that possibly be, as none of my dimensional portals was ever shown having to block my entry point in or around and having to use it? And so now how could this possibly be? For there appears to be another energy source that has blocked me from traveling through our dimensions, but who could have done this? Wait, unless with Primal Blue Evolution Vegeta being shown having to address Gira by them responding, and just where exactly do you think you're going in a hurry there, demon? Trying to go and run back to your little world of shadows again, just like the rest of your twisted legion now, are you? Well, not this time you won't, because I know all about your secret little dark techniques that you've been using in channeling the essence of the very demon realm itself like some kind of a power grid to amplify your power. And since I was also able to read more into how you demons tend to operate in drawing upon the demon realm itself in order to further amplify your magic along with your own power, I was able to go and craft up a little dark technique of my very own by using my very own power along with the power of an aid to go and further fuel my energy, as well as also being able to go and tap into the demon realm's essence myself. And since I am now able to fully understand on just how cunning and just how tricky you demons can truly be by secretly using outside energy to further strengthen your resolve here against us, without it you are hereby left helpless before having to rely on your Dark King and ever hoping to go and stand a chance in coming close enough to actually go and destroy us. And while the concept of your magic along with your secret dark techniques are still very foreign to me by nature, Vegeta continues, it'll only be a matter of time before I go and find a way to go and turn your own dimension of existence against you. And since you haven't went and figured it all out by now, I want you to go and take a little bit of a closer look, Gira. For not only am I currently forging and using my very own energy along with drawing upon the demon realm's essence and having to use it now against you, but I want you to go and take a look on down and having a little bit of a closer look below you and having to go and see the secondary source of energy that I am currently being fueled by, which you don't hope to ever go and stand a chance in having a counter against. To which it was only surprisingly enough now from below, as Ultra Instinct Beerus was shown being the one responsible and further having to amplify Vegeta's energy and stopping Gira in her place, was when Beerus went on to further respond, "That's right, demon, or did you really think that I was truly going to allow for you little worms to honestly go and get the best of us without going and having me and my mortals come prepared for your arrival just in case you went and actually had made it?" Beerus questions. And as I went and tried to warn you fools that this wasn't going to end well for you, and well, was I wrong? With a desperate Gira being shown attempting to open yet another portal by them responding, "No, no, 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 I cannot be forced in being trapped within this universe alone while having to deal with these creatures all by myself. And so there must be a way for me to go and break through. There just has to be, and I won't stop until I find it." But then, it was just from out of nowhere now before Gira, as Whis went on to make his presence known by teleporting directly in front of her, was when Whis went on to then quickly respond, "And I'm afraid that you will not be so quick to go and leave this universe, especially not after all of the damage that you and your fellow demons have caused throughout the multiverse, which is unfortunately why you must be held accountable for having you go and pay for your actions here, Dark Lord." But then, it was only just from out of nowhere with Ultra Instinct Goku shown having to make his way in doing onto Gira the exact same way as to how Gira had done onto Goku, and he was left trapped and having to battle against the demons within the demon realm prior, was when Goku then went on to further address Gira by responding, "And while I tried warning you several times over and having to remind you that this wasn't going to end well if you continue to go down this path been waging war against us, let me go and be the first now to go and pay you back, since I'm sure that you don't seem to like it very much when the numbers along with the odds here are seemingly stacked against you, just like it was when you had went and stacked them all against me within the demon realm, Goku continues. And on top of it all, just as a way to go and pay you back, this one's for Kibi along with every other demon that you had went and forced to fight on your behalf that went against their own will, Gira. Oh, curse them, as I cannot seem to be able to bypass Vegeta's counterattack in breaking his seal in order to go and make my way back into the demon realm. And without my ability to go and do so, then I'll be helpless to go and try to make a difference out here against these creatures, which is why I must go and try to find my way back, and fast, the damaged Gira went on to then say to herself, as we should have been more careful in having to go and reconsider on what these worms would go and be capable of in using out here against us, but we weren't, and for good enough reason too, as I must hurry and try and regroup alongside with the other Dark Masters, and further go and call upon our Legion and having them all come here while we go and summon Lord Raijin to help us, since these little worms have went and had figured out on how to sever our siphoning connection, which we can't. But then it was only from within these very moments now itself from behind Gira, as Ultra Instinct Goku made his way in and having to kick Gira directly towards Beerus, was when Goku then went on to respond. And just so I can go and give you a reminder here, because this one is for going and using my DNA in creating a shadow demon variant of me and having me go and pay you back for getting in the way of my fight against it. That's right now, right this way, Beerus went on to proceed by sticking his arm out by responding. For you and your kind were allowed to go and sliver through the cracks of this universe for far too long, demon. And it's due to the fact of all of the damage that you have went and caused within my universe, is it only fitting for someone like myself to go and be the one to deliver your final judgment upon having to foolishly go and challenge my authority, demon. And as it was clear to me since the very beginning that you demons weren't looking for a fair conflict here between us, but instead you had been looking for something more. And now that we have discovered an opening in figuring out of a way to go and slow you demons down and expose your weaknesses for all to see, this is exactly where the game will end up changing within our favor here between us, demon. For I want all of those who stand alongside you to go and bear witness to what is about to go and happen to you, because what will end up following shortly after you are dealt with here will be exactly what they will all have coming shortly after as well. And so now here's a direct message that I want you to go and pass down onto your cowardly leader, in further having to remind him, Beerus continues, of the consequences that will follow when you dare go and cross a god of destruction, demon. So now feel the full force of a power the likes of which you and your kind could only ever dream of obtaining, Dark Lord. And so now here's a parting gift for you to always go and remember us by. Hakai, Beerus shouts, in which lo and behold, this was now it, because with the Dark Master Gira now having to be shown being vaporized by the hands of none other than Ultra Instinct Beerus, was when Beerus then went on to further continue. And it's a painful way to go now, isn't it, demon? Well, good, because let this go and serve as being a reminder that without your ability to go and draw upon the demon realm's power, and without your leader to go and keep you safe and protecting you when you find yourselves in knocking on death's front door, you will always and forever be known as being nothing more than mere foot soldiers to a far greater being, and a punching bag to any god of destruction who goes and finds themselves in having to face off against you. And so now this is what you get for not only having your pathetic little minions go and ruin my day when they came here earlier, but for also thinking that you can waltz into my domain and expect to go and boss me around without having me go and have something to say about it, demon. And so now that she's gone, which one of you is the next to go? As a prideful Vegeta then went on to quickly respond, well, would you go and look at that, for it would seem as though that these Dark Masters aren't truly as invincible as they assumed for themselves to be after all then. And now that we know of a counter method in having to close these demons in and back them all into a corner by limiting their ability in accessing the demon realm as a means of fueling themselves, it'll only be a matter of time now before they wind up joining that Gira in the afterlife, and they know it. Isn't that right, Whis? With Whis responding, well, be that as it may for now, I can't help but sense something that is rapidly beginning to approach our location, but I can't quite seem to put my finger on making out as to what this could be. As an angry beast, Gohan was then shown having to address Zaru by responding, and I agree with Vegeta, because would you go and take a look at that? And so what exactly was it that you went on to mention to me earlier, Demon? Oh, that's right, Gohan continues. Something about how we wouldn't have been able to go and find a way to beat you demons, isn't that right? Well, so much for that then, because look at how the tables have turned on you now, Demon. And now that Whis is here to stand alongside us, along with having to help cut your ties to the demon realm directly and preventing you from using its energy to power and fuel you, it's time that you monsters go and get a taste of your own medicine, because now it's our turn to go and show you on what exactly we are fully capable of, Demon. As with our heroes now seemingly in full control with only one elite demon left, with Beast Gohan being shown having to face him, was when Beast Gohan then went on to quickly respond, "Oh, don't go crawling back in cowardice now after everything it was that you had said to me out here, Demon, because you should already know, if you had even went and done your research on us here within the 7th, that we weren't going to go and be pushed around, nor are we going to be beaten that easily in a battle here against you," Gohan says. And since you can't seem but need to want to learn the hard way, then the hard way you will ultimately end up learning, Gohan continues, since we tend to play by the same rules that you demons play by in order for us to go and call things evenly out here against you, and because of this, you should go and come to terms with the fact that this struggle that you had went and tried to wage here against us is over for you. As Goku then went on to respond, "Good going on having to go and destroy that Dark Master before she was given the chance to flee, Lord Beerus. And since we can now understand on what exactly it is that we are going to have to go and try to do to bring these Dark Masters and their elite demons down, we should continue to incorporate the same strategy that we just used against that demon Gira, and if we simply hope to go and stay in the clear in not having either of us fall to one of them during this battle," with Beerus being shown having to then respond, "Well, so as long as neither one of you Saiyans ends up getting in my way upon having to destroy them, let alone in being shown having to go and fight them all on your own the way you just did, but instead rather go and stick and move as a unit together, then we will be just fine, so as long as you don't go and mess things up for us even more than what you already have, Goku," with Vegeta then being shown having to respond, "Good, that's the way. Not so tough now without having your precious Dark Masters running around and barking out orders now, is it?" Vegeta questions. "Or it's almost like you have went and doubled our ability to truly make a comeback here against you, whilst assuming that you had us all figured out when in reality you didn't. And so now go and finish that coward off and be done with him for good down there, Gohan," with Beast Gohan having to then respond, "And as I just want you to know here and now that you and your kind had done enough damage in having to show us on just how dangerous you demons can truly be when given the right amount of time to follow through with your plans. And since I will no longer stand idly by and having to watch as any of this continues for the sake of both my family alongside my friends, I cannot go and allow for you and your kind to continue to threaten the ones that I love," Gohan continues, "because the longer we allow for this to go and continue, then the greater the odds will end up being in having us go and lose everything that we've been fighting to protect. And so, because of this very fact, this here between us finally ends now. And so better you than our friends and family, since you had went and brought this onto yourself, Demon. And so now just go and do yourself a favor and close your eyes if you need to, because this ends here and now once and for all, and so now say goodbye." But then, it was only just within that very moment as Gohan let out a blast with his very own energy attack now being shown being redirected, was when Gohan then went on to continue, "Wait, what the? My blast? What did you just do?" Gohan shouts. "Whoa, hey, watch it," Goku then went on to quickly shout, "and just where in the world is that thing going? Unless..." No, with Beerus then having to then quickly chime in. Oh, something's pulling that energy blast away from that demon, which could only mean one thing, since we had went and seen something similar to this happen before when that demon had been taken away moments before I had destroyed him. But then, it was only shockingly enough now from out of nowhere within this very moment as Raiden's hand was shown having to appear from a wormhole in stopping and preventing Gohan's attack from having to destroy Zaru was when Raiden went on to quickly address Universe 7 by responding. So this is where the epicenter of defiance, along with the resistance that I've been sensing, has been festering from. Now is it? Because now that I have already claimed 2 of the 3 configuration cubes that I seek, Raiden continues, I can sense the final piece having to resonate from within this very world, and while you have attempted to go and hide it well, it wasn't ever going to be kept hidden well enough for me to go and not come to find it, Raiden says. For I did not come here to negotiate, nor did I come here to simply parlay with any of you creatures, but to simply retrieve what belongs to me by any means necessary. And if that means that I will go and need to burn everything down within this universe in order for me to go and have it, then I won't go on to waste a single moment in having to do it if it means getting what I am after, even if it's at your own expense, Raiden continues. And so now heed my words and listen very closely to what it is that I'm about to go and say to you, because unlike how it was shown in having to be before, I will not go on to fail a second time in fulfilling my destiny, whether it just so happens to come at the expense of both mortals, gods, and demons alike, Raiden continues. And as I will go and tear away at what I must in order to have what it is that I seek, and since you and your universe refuse to accept the circumstances that have already set themselves into motion with, you may have went and done away and have found for a method to go and destroy one of my Dark Masters, but now that I am here, and now that I am aware of the troublesome issues that you and your universe appear to be causing for me and my legion, this here will be as far as I will allow for any of you to go, because from this moment onwards, Raiden continues, I am going to be the one who will be dictating and controlling the outcome of what our battles and how they will be waged here within this universe, creatures. And as you may have went and found a way in being lucky enough to have wiped away with Gira, but I, on the other hand, will not be so easy to go and deal with as she just was, and so this is where your struggle ends. As Beerus went on to then look on by then quickly, how could it? Because, well, not only is he visibly shown having to be much different than how he was before, but that power, it's unreal. With Raiden responding, you creatures from the 7th should have already expected for my arrival here again after I had went and warned you that I was going to return, and now that I am back, Raiden says, just because I happen to go and look a little differently doesn't mean that I have forgotten about what it was that you have attempted against me here while in my elder state, Raiden says. Only this time, I in fact don't plan on leaving until I have what I came here to collect, you dirty little worms. But would you go and take a look at that? Of all of the places and of all of the beings in the vast, trembling multiverse, you, Whis, you in fact just so happen to be the one who is cradling the final configuration cube that I seek, just as I assumed that you would after having to watch Zalama crumble beneath my feet, Raiden continues. And now that I am just simply one step closer towards doing the impossible, history will forever change once I have what I came here for. As this now accelerates everything, as you are now the final obstacle that stands between myself and the full reconstruction of the very multiverse itself, and having to go as far as to see on what lies beyond it. And since you are now officially a walking target, Raiden says, I can only go as far as to promise you here and now that I won't let you disappear into the void with my cube until I am to go and pry it from your cold angelic hands, which I already plan to do. With Goku being shown having to turn around and having to shout, hey Whis, Beast, if this is true, then you've got to go and try to get as far away from him as you possibly can. As Beerus then went on to quickly respond, oh no, this demon doesn't, for I have seen all that it is that I want to stand to go and handle for one day, and this time, you aren't going to be going and getting away from me that easily, especially now that I have you exactly where I need for you to be, demon. And as you will hereby come to ultimately know your place in realizing the grave mistake that you had went and made by crossing into my universe, along with having you pay for everything that you and your legion have done in turning everything upside down and on its head upon having to come here, demon. But then, it was only just within these very moments as Beerus was shown having to strike Raijin, as Beerus' strike had literally no effect on Raijin whatsoever, was when Raijin then went on to quickly respond, you still don't choose to try and understand, but would rather rely on blind faith along with a false title in hopes of trying to further prove your point and strike fear within the hearts of those whom you oppose. But just so we are clear here, Beerus, you could never truly go and live up to your title as being a true and fearsome god of destruction, when here I stand before you in being a far greater destroyer than you could ever possibly dream of having to live up to, and yet you're the one with the title as being one when you are not, Raijin says, and as you have always and will forever continue to be nothing more than a mere puppet in favor of those who rank above your very nature, and because you will always play second fiddle to those angels and Omni Kings alike, Raijin continues, I on the other hand am far more than what you could ever hope and dream of becoming, for it is I who currently sits at the very top of that pecking order while you continue to coexist beneath me, which is exactly on how this shall remain from here on, always and forever, Beerus. As both Vegeta and Goku were then shown having to quickly make their way towards Raijin and dashing towards his direction, with Goku responding, whoa, Vegeta, we are hereby left with no other choice, and so we have to get in there and try, even if we just so happen to fail to go and make a difference in having to stop him. And so let's hurry and go and close right in before he goes and makes the first move against us instead. As Zaru then went on to quickly respond, oh, that was close, but since Lord Raijin appears to have their full and undivided attention here, now's my chance to go and hurry back and make my way into the demon realm before it's too late. But then, it was only just during the middle of Beerus' body being shown having to crash directly into Gohan, as Whis went on to then further make his presence known by having to get in between them and stopping them from further having to fly out, was when Whis went on to then quickly respond, oh dear, easy there, careful now, for you do not need to go and have to worry, as I am here for you all and will continue to go and do so until the bitter end, regardless of what ends up happening. As Raijin then went on to then further freeze Goku and Vegeta in place by then responding, and then there's the two of you, proud and arrogant Saiyan warriors Goku and Vegeta, as if your battle against that fallen angel Murno had went and taught you anything, for it should have ultimately been on when to know to back down rather than continue to engage in fighting against an enemy that you both simply know that you are powerless to destroy. And while I honestly have no interest in having to go and deal with either one of you, since you already are both extremely far beneath me, Raijin continues, you are both but a joke through my very own eyes, because Murno should have ended you both a very long time ago when he had the chance, but since I am now left to go and deal with his failures, allow for me to go and have you both use your heads in giving you yet another reminder on why you will never hope in ever having to come close enough in beating me in battle, no matter what it is that you go and try against me. But then, it was only shockingly enough now from out of nowhere, as Super Saiyan 3 Broly went on to make his presence known in wrapping himself around Raijin and squeezing him within a bear hug, was when a surprised Raijin then went on to quickly respond, what the, oh, and just what is this? For do you honestly really think that this is going to somehow work here against me, you primitive beast? Please, don't insult me with such a primal attempt of trying to go and get the better of me whilst not having a single clue as to what you are truly going up against here, Saiyan. Saiyan. And so the harder you attempt to squeeze, the more you expose your pitiful desperation, Raijin continues. And that is simply because sheer size and strength alone isn't what forges a dangerous fighter, Saiyan. But it is rather the size of the fight and the levels that you are willing to suffer through within that forge the most dangerous and ruthless warriors the world has ever seen. And since you wouldn't understand given how you are not from the demon realm, Raijin proceeds upon being shown having to slowly pull Broly's arms away. Allow for me to hereby go and show you that just because you're big does it not mean that you are stronger than those who were forged within the fires of darkness long before your very own time, Saiyan, as I am going to come to make you slowly regret in not surrendering yourself to me when you were given the chance to go and do so. Because while you could have proven yourself to be rather useful to our cause in serving directly under me as one of my strongest demon warriors throughout the entirety of the demon realm itself, let this now go and serve as being a small reminder to you that you will never go and be strong enough on your own to stop me from achieving my ultimate goals, Broly. And if you had been wise enough earlier and had submitted yourself to my very will, could you have been a magnificent weapon of destruction within the ranks of my demon army, but you had went and made your decision even long before I had arrived within your universe, which goes and tells me everything it is that I need to go and know about you. And so if this was going to be the very best that you little worms could do in using all that you possibly could in trying to stand across for me during this battle, Raijin says, then go and do yourselves a favor before I return to you and simply stay down in the meantime. But then, it was only just upon with Raijin being shown having to walk right past Vegeta and Goku, with Vegeta being shown having to grab onto Raijin's leg, was when Vegeta went on to then quickly respond, "Don't you dare go and take another damn step closer, demon, for I don't care on how much pain I'm in or how many times you go and knock me down, because the only thing that truly matters is for you to know that we won't stop fighting you until you are reduced to nothing more than space dust. And while you gloat about your destiny and talk about the inevitability of your conquest and getting what you're after," Vegeta continues, "all I seem to continue to listen to is a coward who is hiding behind stolen power that he simply didn't earn, but had rather went and used every other method that he could in order to convince himself otherwise," Vegeta continues. "And so if you truly want to win, then you'll have to go and crush the very spirit of every warrior standing in your path here, as I promise you that this isn't going to be something that you will be able to go and accomplish so easily, demon," with Raijin responding, "And just who exactly do you think you are by going and placing your dirty hands on me and attempting to prevent me from obtaining my destiny, mortal? For you are nothing but a worm, and so now allow for me to go and make something extremely clear to you so that you may fully be able to go and understand," Raijin says, "as both yourself along with every single insignificant soul who calls this universe their home are not worthy of my time. For I didn't go and come here to go and trade philosophies with weak and broken warriors such as yourself, when I had came here instead to go and lay claim over what is mine to have, which ultimately extends and goes far beyond you feeble creatures. However, you say that I will go and need to crush your spirits if I truly hope to be victorious over you, but I already have, and you just haven't went and realized it yet," Raijin continues. "For your will may be strong, Saiyan, but I am not here to go and do battle against will, for I am here to rewrite the very fabric of reality and history itself. And if I'll need to go and start by setting the example with you as my victim, then so be it then, mortal." But then, it was only just then within these very moments as Whis went on to make his presence known and having to intervene by attacking Raijin, was when Whis went on to then quickly shout, "That's enough, for you have went and caused far too much damage as it is for me to go and stand idly by and having to watch you go and attempt to destroy these mortals while I'm here to go and aid them, as I will not allow for you to go and hereby advance in your quest and watching you further plunge the multiverse into even more chaos than what it was, and especially now that you are far too dangerous to be allowed to go unchecked, which I will now go and do what I must in order to stop you from succeeding, demon, with Raijin responding, "Why, you insufferable angelic creature. For you and your kind have always been the most troublesome bunch that always had went and managed to get in the way of each and every single one of my plans, and having my suffering all stem because of you, but no matter then," Raijin says, "because now that I know as to where the third and final configuration cube lies, I will go on to stop at nothing to have what I am rightfully owed and what rightfully goes and belongs to me. And as the only reason as to why you are still breathing," Raijin continues upon being shown having to push Whis away, "is simply because I want you to go and feel every bit of what I had felt when you and your kind had went and sealed me away, and as the very essence of isolation, agony, and torment, and for the crimes of being what you are, which is an angel and a creation of the same system that had imprisoned me for generations upon generations and having to leave me to rot until the end of my days. And instead of using that very same power that your fallen angelic brother Murno had to rip you apart and ending your life as quickly as I could, and as I am going to go and make you feel every bit of the pain that I had went and felt when both your brother and your father had imprisoned me, Whis. And as your siblings along with your father will ultimately come to sense the void of where you once stood," Raijin continues, "but by the time they go and come to find out on what had happened to you, it will already be too late in having anyone try and do anything that they could muster in stopping me," Raijin.
And this guy ran away right when I got my dragon change. See if I can snipe him. We were close. Getting super leggy. About to find this B key though. I don't know where it could be, man. I don't like this map. Oh, we already found the B key. I was confused. Gotta look for the C key. I got all the keys. Shit, I ain't doing nothing this match. We key rushed the shelf, this guy. Let's lost the dragon changes. We got our level 2 and we're back to we got our dragon change back and I got 2 sodas. Raider's lagging hard. I don't know if it's my internet or it's the Raider. Do not fight this guy. Oh my gosh, man. How are we getting cooked by a baby raider? I don't really want to waste this soda. I'll get my dragon change back in a couple of seconds and then I'll go back in. Got my dragon change back. Just gonna wait for him to go to the time machine and I'll go fight him. Because the time machine's still going right now. So I'm just gonna go last minute. I don't have a shield. Oh my gosh, bro. This guy's annoying as fuck. This guy got us with the same move like 3 times in a row now. I need these guys to get on the time machine. I'm done with this game. We suck. We fucking suck. What is going on, bro? Because this guy's lagging so hard. You can't do nothing. How does this guy have his have that ability like every 10 seconds? He's only level 2. He shouldn't have it like that. Got the time machine active though. Something wasn't right, man. What happened? Well, we won the match. Play like trash, but a win is a win.
Says, and so you can go and try as much as you'd like in attempting to try to best me if you think that it'll honestly be enough to go and win you the day, because in the end, you will ultimately fail just as the others have fallen before you, Whis. And with Murno's divine knowledge infused into my very soul, I am no longer bound by the limitations of flesh or magic, Raijin continues, for I have become a weapon of absolute annihilation. And since you and your kind are the only living creatures remaining who can still stand to challenge my authority, Raijin continues, I am going to go and take this time to go and do unto you just as you and your kind had went and done unto me, while I slowly go and grind you into the dirt where you rightfully belong before I am to have what you just so happen to hold in your hand. But understand this, Angel, that you can go and make no mistake about the fact that I will go and get my hands on that final configuration cube from you, whether I am to go and pry it from you during our battle or I tear it from your lifeless corpse. As one way or another, I will not cease my destruction until I have what I have been searching for, Raijin continues, as I am going to hurt you in ways that your divine anatomy isn't quite ready for, and since you seem to be guarding the one thing that I am after, I am going to go and punish you for every second that you delay my destiny, and for every generation that you and your kind had stood by in silence and watched as I rotted beyond the edges of time itself is something that I will also go and make you pay dearly for, Whis. As you will pay for both your neutrality along with your apathy, as you will also be paying that final price with your very existence itself once this is all said and done, Angel. And while I do not have the need to go and exert much of myself out here against you, and considering that Murno's very power is what makes up the majority of my newly combined strength, Raijin continues, and it's time that you go and suffer for what your father had went and put me through, because since he's no longer around, I'm going to go and make sure that you wind up paying his price for him. Well, this doesn't look good, Vegeta, as we've always managed to go and find a way out of any given situation that we ended up finding ourselves within, but this time, I think that we may have went and met our match here, because I haven't felt a monstrous power like this since fighting Murno, and we can't just go and back down now and have him walk right through us, because if we do, then you and I are goners, Goku says. And although I'm not really sure if that demon paralyzing technique of yours is going to work on him or not, but one thing that I do know is that we'll need to go and try to fight him together, because fighting him alone is bound to ensure our destruction if we do. And so now, what do you think we should go and try to do here, since we're running on borrowed time, Vegeta? As I think that while he isn't looking towards our direction, we should go and get Broly and try to attack him together in order to go and see on how far we can go here, because anything other than having to combine our powers and using it against him, and we'll lose. As Vegeta went on to then quickly respond, as painful as this is to admit, your instincts are right with this one, Kakarot, and so So if we're going down, then it won't be alone or without a fierce struggle in having us do what we must in order to try to stop him, and so we'll need to try and regroup with the others and coordinate now carefully, otherwise we are goners if we don't. To which moreover on the other side, as Whis was then shown quickly getting into fighting position whilst holding on to the third and final configuration cube, was when Whis went on to then quickly respond, well, you may go and try, but I will not allow for you to go and lay claim over this cube, especially not while I am currently within possession of it, you aren't, Whis adds, and if waging a war against me is going to be something that you are going to be looking forward towards in attempting to try to pry it away from me, then go right ahead and be my guest, because you aren't— oh no, that bastard doesn't. Beast Gohan then went on to quickly rush on from behind and charging towards Raijin directly, and as I'll go and take it from here while you go and look after and help the others in the meantime, Whis. But even with Gohan's best attempts in having to be shown attacking Raijin, there was nothing that Beast Gohan was able to remotely do that even came close enough in having to affect Raijin, as Raijin then went on to quickly respond, you pathetic child, do you truly believe that your youthful courage holds any real weight against my overwhelming power? Because it doesn't, as your naive bravery only hastens your own demise, for your efforts to go and stand against me will also backfire, Raijin continues, no matter how hard it is that you go and try to push back against me, as I am going to savor every little moment in having to break your spirit piece by piece until the very concept of the resistance that you used to go and fight for is torn from your feeble mind, as only then will you truly be able to comprehend on what it means to lose everything, Raijin adds. But while your stubborn resistance is infuriating, I will rip that very pride that you hold so near and dear to your heart along with your bravado away from you, piece by agonizing piece, until you ultimately come to learn your lesson, Saiyan. And since you appear to be using brute strength in attempting to try and make your way into punching right through me in hopes of having any of these feeble attacks actually hurt me, Raijin continues, why don't I go and simply show you on what I mean, since you don't appear to understand and would much rather need for me to demonstrate on what exactly it is that I mean, Saiyan. As demonstrate Raijin did, because with one singular punch, as Raijin was from that point then shown having to completely break apart and shatter Gohan's cranium alongside with his jaw, was when Raijin then went on to quickly continue, and so now let this go and serve as being a painful reminder whether you go and live long enough to endure and survive this, or perish within these moments of having me go and break your face, as you were never any threat to me to begin with, and so now away with you while I have much bigger and far more important matters to go and attend to at the moment, Saiyan. But it was only within these very moments, unbeknownst to Raijin, as Broly, Goku, and Vegeta were then shown charging up their most powerful attacks behind him, was when Goku then went on to respond, let's hurry, Broly, and you too now, Vegeta, so let's go and blast this monster using everything that we have, but just go and wait on my signal until we are to fire. And so now steady now, easy, almost there, and right there, Goku shouts. And so now let's go and blast this monster by using everything that we have, and don't go and hold anything back while we go and blast him, you guys. And so now let's hurry and go and crush this fiend once and for all and do it together. But unfortunately for our heroes, it was only just upon with their collective attack being shown having to make contact and not affecting Raijin whatsoever, was when Raijin then went on to quickly respond, and just what exactly was that supposed to be, as I was already expecting for you worms to go and attempt to try and attack me all at the same time, but since I am already well aware and had prepared for situations such as these, Raijin continues, allow for me to now go and show you Saiyan mortals on how to go and get the job done properly. To which it was only just upon with Whis now being shown having to catch Gohan from within the sky, was when Whis went on to then quickly respond, oh now there, Gohan, as I will go and take care of you from here on, for I can sense that you are now no longer without a pulse, but I won't allow for this to be on how this is going to end for you, and so now please just go and try to stay with me, Whis went on to then catch Gohan by responding, oh goodness, because had I went and known and had foreseen the depths of Raijin's strength, then perhaps I could have went and prevented such a catastrophic war here against him, and so I need for you all to please forgive me, as your safety now rests entirely upon my shoulders now, as I vow to guard you all closely in ensuring your recovery and survival while I search desperately for any means of halting Raijin's rampage permanently me in the meantime. And while I know that things don't look as though they are all too great for us from within this very moment, I just need for you all to simply hang in there and stay with me, Whis says. Which it was only then during this time, as Goku and Vegeta were then shown rapidly having to approach Raijin from behind and attacking him, was when Raijin then went on to quickly respond, "Yes, there we are now, and with 3 of your strongest allies down and brought down with ease on top of it, the only ones left who stand in the way of having me reach that angel in obtaining the 3rd and final configuration cube are the 2 of you," as Whis went on to then quickly rush on over towards Broly's direction by then responding, "Oh goodness, well at least you are still alive and with us, although barely, Broly, but I must hurry and bring you all to safety while I still can, and that is simply because we will need you in the meantime, and so you cannot go and perish on us now," Whis continues, "for never did I ever go and foresee for a moment where my guidance and protection would falter so dramatically, but I will not let this go and be the last of your days," Whis continues, as with Raijin's brutality being unparalleled, with his fury being unlike anything that we have ever encountered before since having to go back and having to wage war against my fallen brother Murno, or there must be a way around him somehow, as even in failure an angel's duty persists, as I vow to go and heal and protect you all to the best of my ability, and as you will all go and remain safe with me until I have formulated a plan on how to go and counteract his terrifying approach against us. And even though I may not be entirely sure that this is actually going to go and work out there against him, Whis adds upon having to be shown placing Gohan down next to both Beerus and Broly, and I still have to go and try, even if it ends up making the slightest bit of difference in buying us a bit of time, to which all the while back over with Vegeta and Raijin, it was only within those very moments as Raijin was shown having to grab onto one of Vegeta's punches before having to retaliate, was when Raijin went on to then quickly respond, "Your stubborn refusal to acknowledge reality grows tiresome, Saiyan, so shall I further go on to enlighten you so that way you can go and see it for yourself?" Raijin questions, as the difference in our power isn't just a slight one, but it's rather staggering, infinite, and unbridgeable, and so if you still believe for your attacks to go and do any good for you and having to wear me down, then I want you to go and watch very closely, Saiyan. Raijin continues upon suddenly being shown having to uppercut Vegeta in the stomach and completely having to shatter all of his ribs, as your durability is laughably insignificant and a testament to your delusions of grandeur, while my power remains largely dormant here against you mortals, and having it go and be reserved for moments of greater significance than annihilating a pack of prideful insects like you and your little friends, Vegeta. And as you should have known better, foolish warrior, for did your arrogance truly deceive you into believing that you could withstand my wrath and thinking that I had been bluffing about what it was that I had said? And as you are utterly pathetic, and so if you wind up losing your life in the meantime, then just know that this was exactly what you and the others had coming your way, in having to forcefully go and make you see the difference in between our power in the most brutal and painful ways, Vegeta. But this doesn't end with you, Raijin continues upon, now being shown surprisingly grabbing onto Goku's neck as Goku was trying to ambush him from behind. And lastly, then there's you, Universe 7 so-called legendary Saiyan warrior who is commonly referred to as Son Goku, a man whose very nature itself cannot help but continue to lead him down the path of sorrow and destruction, Raijin adds. But just go and now take a look all around you here, Son Goku. Look how far your precious comrades have fallen in attempting to go and stand against me, only to have failed in having to do anything to actually go and make a difference in stopping me, Raijin says. And for what it's worth, Murno's incredible battle power wasn't the only thing that I had acquired after having my Dark Master's wish for his essence to go and be merged within my own, but I also just so happened to wield his battle memories as well. And because I was able to go and retain his battle memories, I am already well aware of every trick and every strategy that you will go and try to attempt to go and use here against me, which simply isn't going to work. And deep down, unlike how it was when Murno had you within his vices, this time you aren't going to be so lucky to go and make it out of this alive like how you were shown having to do with Murno, Goku. But the only difference being is that you were never my primary target to go and begin with, but instead it was that third and final configuration cube that Whis holds within his person, person that truly has my full and undivided attention, Saiyan. And so once I go and finally lay claim to the third and final configuration cube will be when everything will change forever, Raijin says. Because why stop in simply having to rule over one multiverse when I can go and rule over them all and expand my legion across an infinite and endless space of timelines and realities in having to conquer them all, Raijin adds. And so how exactly will you try to go and stop me when all of your reserves are out of reach, Raijin questions, because with both of the Omni Kings along with the Grand Minister out of the picture, what hope could you possibly have to actually win here, Raijin continues, because the answer to this very question is but a simple one, and that is absolutely nothing. There is nothing that you could possibly go and hope for that will stand in between us that will ultimately win you the day here against me. And once I am to go and find out on what exactly lies beyond the other side after assembling all three of those configuration cubes, the final phases of my long-awaited and long-desired plan will finally at long last be completed without any resistance. As a dire and desperate Goku then went on to quickly respond, and that's where you're wrong, because so as long as there are those of us who still are powerful enough to go and stand against you, then there will always be a way for us to try and find a way to win, even if that means in having us stake our lives on the line to go and do it. Then we will gladly go ahead and do just that. And so you don't scare me, because I have watched monsters like you come and go, and just like the rest of them, you will also go and fall alongside them too. As Raijin then went on to then quickly respond, oh, is that what you think is going to happen now, do you? How utterly delusional, for you mortals truly are the gods' greatest mistakes to date, Raijin adds. And as the very fact that these so-called deities have went and stooped this low as to go and rely on its mortal warriors to fight and protect their sacred balance is not only laughable, but it is just disgusting. And if you truly insist that you and your allies are indeed powerful enough to withstand my wrath into thinking that you can actually beat me, then why don't I just go and take this time to further remind you on exactly why these fantasies you have in defeating me are but a pointless dream, Saiyan. Oh, Kakarot, we have to try and figure out of a way to blindside him, because if this continues to go the way that it is, then we aren't going to last much longer out here if he continues to go and treat us like this, Vegeta says. And so we'll have to try and find another method to go and attack him with, because if we don't try and use something like fusion or any other counterattack to stop him in his tracks, then he'll tear us both apart, and he'll do it without breaking a sweat against us. And so hurry and try to use your instant transmission technique so that way you can go and break free and get away from him. But then it was only just before Goku was able to do so within these very moments was when Raijin was then shown having to grab onto the top of Goku's skull by then responding, oh no you don't, for you aren't going anywhere, and so don't even think about attempting to try to go and bypass me and aiding your friend here next to you, because you'd be wrong to go and assume that I would allow for either one of you to slip by me without having me catch on to you. And so to ensure my position, allow for me to go and put an end to your miserable struggle by putting you in your rightful place and giving you a reminder of where you mortals belong, Raijin adds. And as you leave this world and venture on over into the afterlife, just know that otherworld, along with every and all other realms beyond the world of the living, will soon be destroyed after everything is dealt with. And as this notion of mortal camaraderie is as revolting as it is pointless to watch take place, but it's because of your very own actions in choosing to defy me is where the source of your suffering will stem from, Raijin says. And then while you insects have went and managed to amuse me for a brief heartbeat within these very moments, I grow tired of this charade, since I didn't go and come here to test the might of your mightiest mortal warriors, but but am rather here to go and erase them instead, Raijin continues, and so, it is due to this very fact for none of you could ever go and hope to try to do anything within your power that will honestly go and make a difference in this war out here against me, and since I grow tired of allowing for you insects to continue to try your best in regrouping and rounding each other up to go and attack me, no longer will I go and stand here and allow for any of that to happen while my true calling lies directly before me in obtaining the third and final configuration cube, Saiyan. For you will go and perish in the name of failure with your face lying in the dirt where it belongs, as I am about to go and make you regret on ever attempting to go and attack me when you should have bowed. But then, it was only just before Raijin even had the opportunity to go and do anything to wipe out both Goku and Vegeta was when all of a sudden both Vegeta and Goku's body were then shown having to quickly vanish, as Raijin then went on to quickly ask, "And what's this? And just where exactly do those two think that they're going? Wait, now I see, but of course." As those two didn't go and act on their own just now and having to go and attempt to try to escape me, but were rather rescued and saved by another. And if I had to go and take a guess, Raijin adds, "Oh, then I'd be right, for I knew that you'd go and try to attempt to make a move against me sooner or later, Whis," Raijin adds upon having to see a gigantic blast being shown having to slam right into him. "But attempting to go and bypass the inevitable was a mistake that I will ensure that you pay dearly for with your blood, you angelic wretch," as Whis went on to then respond, "Now while I may not have all of the time in the world here to try to go and get this going, I must hurry while that demon is distracted before he is able to go and find a way to break free, for if we are to hope to stand a chance against this beast moving forward," Whis adds, "then I may in fact actually have a plan that just might end up buying us the time that we need, and so let us see," as an angry Raijin was then shown being pushed back by then quickly responding, "Why, you rotten, pathetic little sneaky angel, I am going to make sure that you suffer slowly for ever daring to go and cross me in such a way like how you just did." Alright, now everyone wake up immediately and listen very, very carefully, for there is no room for hesitation after this, since my attack won't be strong enough to go and hold Raijin back for more than just a brief moment. And so because of this, you must quickly begin to regain your senses and rise to your feet at once, because I may not be able to go and have another chance in having to go and do this. And so I will need for you all to go and pay very close attention to what it is that I'm about to say, because we only have this one final chance left to counter Raijin's sinister plans, as our lives, this universe, and everything you cherish depend on how swiftly and effectively you go and follow my instructions, Whis continues, as there is no room for doubt or deviation here, and so I will need for you to go and follow my instructions exactly as I go and tell you, or we will end up losing everything that we have been fighting so extremely hard to protect, which is why I will need for you all to listen very closely, and I mean all of you, as I am hereby only doing this because I am left with no other choice, for I cannot risk in having to be captured with this relic on my persons, and especially with Raijin watching and listening to everything very closely. But if we go and act now while his focus is on me, then we may in fact actually be able to go and find a way to buy just enough time in figuring out of a way on how to free the Omni Kings and locate the Grand Priest. And so what I am giving you is one of the 3 configuration cubes that Raijin is desperately attempting to try and acquire, Whis adds, and if that monster is able to somehow find a way to obtain it, then the very balance of the reality as we know it will spiral into irreversible collapse, and we will all be destroyed. But not only do these configuration cubes hold the power to go and affect our multiverse if Raijin were to go and somehow get his hands on all 3 of them, but they also seem to have the power to affect the Omniverse as well, Whis adds, which this in and of itself is an infinite and ever-expanding plane of existence that is home to not just our multiverse, but thousands of others, Whis adds, and if all 3 of these cubes are to be gathered and combined into one, will they only open the gateway into allowing for anyone who combined them to go and cross over into their unknown domain, Whis says. And so now to go and avoid in having him ever have the chance to go and attempt to lay claim over this cube, Whis adds, you must go and do what you can to ensure that this cube stays beyond his reach, as that alone will be enough to stall his ascension while we go and figure out on how we can go and get help in having to find and locate the Grand Minister, as well as being able to set the Omni Kings free from their imprisonment, Whis continues, as with the other remaining angel attendees all stationed by my command on behalf of the Grand Minister to guard their universes in not stepping out of their governing worlds lest they risk in having their universes be completely destroyed and taken over and wiped out by Raigen's army, we will have to go and make do with what we can in keeping that configuration cube as far away from that lunatic while I keep his attention preoccupied with me here in the meantime. Wait, so hold on, you are leaving us in charge and going and taking care of this thing? But what exactly do you think that we ought to go and do here to ensure that this thing is kept safe and away from falling within the wrong hands, Whis? With Whis responding, well, whatever you are all about to go and do, it must be done with the absolute fullest extent of your powers in having to do so, for we must not go and let this relic fall within Raigen's hands, which is why I will go and engage with him while you are all left with this mission and figuring out on what to do moving forward, as your mission by now should be very clear, because while I can't go and promise that I will be strong enough to defeat him, Whis continues, I can however go and promise to at least go and keep his attention locked onto me while the rest of you are left to plan, as without the aid of the Grand Minister or the Omni Kings, we are now left to go and think of a way to go and free them while attempting to also hide the relic which Raigen seeks, Whis continues, and don't worry about me while I'm out there, and so just figure out of a plan in having to keep that cube away from him while we go and use these final moments to think of a way out, and fast, Whis says, and if this is going to be the very last time that I am able to go and see you all, Whis adds, then I want for you all to go and remember as to the causes that you are choosing to fight for, and to remain as united as you possibly can, as without the aid of your fellow allies in battle, we are hopeless to go and survive against him, Whis adds, and so I hereby leave the rest in your hands while I go and deal with this demon on my own, Whis went on to then shout upon being shown dashing towards Raigen, and while I promise that I will not rest until I am to see that you are to be dealt with in the meantime, Raigen, and if you just so happen to want that cube as badly as you claim to want it, Whis adds, then you will have to go and pry it from my lifeless, cold, dead body if you wish to go and achieve your ultimate plans of destruction, which I can only go as far as to assure you here and now that you will not be successful in having to go and accomplish. And so whether I am to go and prevail here against you or perish by your hands in this battle, I will never allow for you to go and bypass through my efforts and having all of this end within your favor. However, it was only just upon with Whis being shown having to tackle Raigen through one of these said portals, as Raigen had then gone as far as to now bring Whis back on over into the demon realm and having to give himself the home field advantage, was when Raigen then went on to quickly respond, and do you honestly think that any of what it was that you had just mentioned is supposed to somehow go and scare me? Please. And as you are indeed very brave for someone who is left to go and deal with the most dangerous existing entity that the multiverse has ever seen, and having to have you do this all alone, and especially in knowing that without the aid of your angelic siblings to go and stand here alongside you, and because of this, the fight that you are willing to try and wage here against me will be as one-sided as you can imagine for it being, because as skilled as you are and as powerful as you may be, Raigen continues, with your brother's memories and battle power coursing through my very body, you will never go and find your way out of my clutches, especially since I now know that you are the one who carries the final configuration cube that I seek, Whis. Because no matter how composed you remain and no matter how refined your tactics may in fact be, you are now left all alone and alone within my world while surrounded by darkness that is as old as time itself, and alone you will fall, because in the end your light will dim and your breath will slow, and once it's time for me to go and finally finish you, and I will proceed in having to go and do so without hesitation, as your soul will know the very meaning of despair itself, which will ultimately go and stretch far beyond anything that you were ever shown in having to go and experience before, Angel. And since you are nowhere close for me to go and refer to you as my equal in battle, Raigen continues, I will have you simply know that you are merely just the first fallen stone that signals the landslide to come, and as you will not go on to be remembered for how long you stood against me, but instead you will be remembered for being nothing more than just a sacrifice. As Whis went on to then check his surroundings by then having to say to himself, a throne area, so this must be where this demon mainly resides, and so I must be careful with how I choose to go and approach this, because anything can go and happen at any given time, especially as of right now. But there appears to be, however, something that I sense that is being restrained within Raigen's attacks. Whis went on to then make note of this by responding, as he appears to be channeling immense power, but also appears to be caging it deep within himself as well. But why is the question? For is it possible that he is maybe perhaps caging his true power deep within himself, or perhaps perhaps maybe a weakness of some kind that I have yet to explore on the surface, and as whatever that strange feeling was that I had just sensed Whis put on to continue upon being shown dashing towards Raijin, and it must be something that I have to try and exploit by dragging it out and onto the surface, because if what I felt was perhaps some kind of a weakness, then I must hurry to go and try to do the best that I can in getting down to the bottom of learning of this monster's weakness immediately. Well, as sure of yourself as you may go on to appear to be, you should already also be well aware that we angels will not go and crack so easily under the pressures of such battles, no matter how powerful the opposition appears to be, which that just so happens to go and include you, for you are nothing more than a bloodthirsty parasite who will ultimately fail in their attempts to obtain what he is seeking, and deep down, you absolutely know for this to ultimately go and be true, as Raijin was then shown having to laugh and deflecting Whis' attacks by then responding, "Oh, is that so?" Raijin responds, "and that's where you're wrong, because while you may assume that my fate is to be decided by having me fall just as those who have fallen before me, my fated destiny, on the other hand, will not go and be decided by the likes of any of you, simply because you are all out of time and all out of solutions in doing anything that will truly make a lasting difference here against me in this battle, and as your endurance may keep you standing for now, Angel, but it cannot hold the inevitability that I have become and grown into, and because I can go and see right through your tactics, I am now able to understand that you seek to exhaust me." Raijin continues upon Whis being shown spitting blood within his hand, upon also being shown having to oversee thousands of demons making their way all across the multiverse, and as I can begin to now see that you are looking to go and bleed me dry inch by inch, but you cannot hope to outlast what simply does not wish to be extinguished, Angel. For you believe yourself to be clever, Whis, but cleverness without an overwhelmingly stronger force to help back you is nothing more than an annoyance, and quite honestly, Raijin continues, I have grown very tired in having to go and deal with such weary annoyances, for you mistaken the demon realm's shifting tides as a sign of your influence, when in reality, this very realm along with everything inside of it bends its power to my very will, as it continues to go and feed in strengthening me, and so for every second that you remain here, Raijin continues, will you only go on to nourish the very force that you seek to destroy, and if you still wish to not go and believe me, Raijin says, then I will be more than happy enough to go and demonstrate to you by showing you on exactly what I mean. To which it was only moreover within this very moment back within Universe 7 on Beerus' planet, as the others were beginning to discuss of a plan in trying to hide or get rid of the configuration cube that they were in possession of, as Gohan then went on to quickly respond, "So now, any idea on what you all have in mind in having to go and help get that thing and keep it as far away from that demon as possible?" Gohan questions. Because if this is the very relic that Raijin is desperately trying to go after and obtain, then should we go and try to destroy it in hopes of maybe having it work within our favor or something? With Vegeta responding, "Well, our mission was to go and hide the relic and not destroy it, Gohan, because if Whis had wanted for the cube to go and be destroyed," Vegeta says, "then I have no doubt that he would have went and done it himself, and so we will have to go and somehow find a way to remain in control of it until another opportunity is to present itself, and so I say that we go and take this fight back to Earth, where we can ultimately go and have the others join in having to aid us in case we are to go and be outnumbered in the meantime." As Beerus went on to then quickly chime in, "Well, the boy is right, and so I say that we go and take this time to go and head back to Earth, so that way we can go and keep these demons as far away from my planet that I can," Beerus continues, "in having us go and hold the line by clearing out the planet of all of its invading creatures instead," saying, "Yeah, that's actually a good idea," Goku then went on to quickly chime in, "and so we'll head back to Earth in the meantime so that we can go and have the others join us, so that way we won't go and be outnumbered," with Vegeta then having to quickly respond, "Then let's go and head back to Capsule Corp, because I can sense a great battle that is seemingly taking place out there, which more than likely means that those demons have already invaded, and so now let's go." But then, it was only from within
We waited like 30 minutes to find a match just to get Broly. This game sucks, man.
Trunks. I've set a super time machine, as well as a crate of supplies. Here's how to launch. Find the power keys, then place them in the right spots. Power key. Go slot it. That's a new power key. Place it now. Great. You know what to do with that key.
I got a lot of keys though.
You're my savior.
Hughes have been horrible tonight.
An ally needs your help. We don't know what danger awaits. Think before rushing in. I need help. Someone.
I don't even know where this guy is. I think my internet's just lagging out, bro, because the last raider I played against was really choppy. This guy, everyone seems choppy too, man. I don't know if it's my internet or their internet, but it's not looking good. Where are they? Someone gave up, and we have a person down. This guy got his level 3. I think that's GG's, man. We only have 5 players left. Find this damn E key next. I don't know if he saw me come over here. Alright, we have our level 3. But no. I have a power key radar though. Where's this key, man? It better not be up there. It's probably up here. Told you. Fucking waste, man. Bro, I don't know what to say, man. This is a waste of time. I think I should play some Mario Kart. This guy gets killed, then escape time machine will pop up too. Because I don't think anyone can save me. Well guys, that's game. Wasted like 40 minutes of my life waiting for a match just for this to happen. Shit you gotta deal with.
In those very moments, as Goku went on to pull the individual out that was looking to grab hold of the final configuration cube, was when Goku then went on to quickly shout, No, you don't, and so nice try, but we aren't going to be letting you demons go and get your hands on this cube that easily. Hey, wait a second. Kibi, is that really you? With the frightening demon Kibi having to then respond, Wait, it's me. No, Goku, just stop. It's me. It's Kibi, so don't attack me and just calm down, please. For I didn't go and come here with the intention to cause harm onto you, but to rather go and find and address you in matters that involve both Raijin the Dark Masters and that strange cube that Raijin appears to be looking for, and so please just don't attack me, with Vegeta then having to quickly chime in. Out of the way now, Kakarot, for he must be dealt with and dealt with fast, otherwise there is no telling on the amount of damage that this demon is willing to go and cause if he is able to be given a chance to flee with his life, and so now move! over. Wait, don't do it, Vegeta. Kibi here is one of the good ones. Goku then went on to quickly plead with Vegeta by shouting, and then so just hold on for a second and don't go off and trying to destroy him when he was the one who actually went out of his way to go and send me back into Universe 7 from the Demon Realm. And then so just try to calm down for just a second here and listen to what it is that I'm telling you, because he isn't like the others, as I can go and promise that he is not. And so wait, Vegeta. You've got to be kidding me, Saiyan. Beerus went on to then quickly chime in, as if I'm going to go and allow for this pathetic little foot soldier of Raijan's to go and attempt to try and sneak back onto my planet, and only having him think that he is going to go and snatch that cube away from us and not live long enough to go and regret his actions. And so now out of the way so we can go and destroy this little demon before things go and get worse for us in the meantime. As Goku went on to then plead with everyone by then responding, now just wait and hold on, everyone. Look, I think you guys have it all wrong, because I'm telling you that he is not like the rest of them, and that is simply because if it were not for Kibi here, then there is no telling on what would have went and happened to me while I was trapped down there within the demon realm with those demons. As it is only now because of this fact I want you all to simply go and give him a chance here, as you will all see in due time as to what I mean. And so just trust me here, because I wouldn't be going and lying to you if I wasn't sure. With Kibi responding, and your ally here is right, for I did not intend on coming here to start any trouble with any of you, but would rather attempt to try and offer a helping hand in having to help you stop Lord Raijin and the Dark Masters for good. And while I know on how this might sound, you'll have to just go and trust me on this, because while I may have been loyal to the Dark Masters and Lord Raijin before, I know now that this is not the path that both myself and many others who are just like me want to go down and follow. And while I know that you may not go and trust any of us at the moment, Kibi continues, which quite frankly you have every reason not to, but this is something that you will have to go and simply trust me on, because if you don't, then you will only be putting a far bigger target on your backs than what you already have now. And so in order to ensure that Raijin does not manage to go and get his hands on that final configuration cube, I will simply need for all of you to trust me enough in handing that cube on over to me and allow me to go and hide it deep within the pits of the demon realm, as Lord Raijin wouldn't go and think twice about having that very cube be hidden within our realm, since he will ultimately have to come and find out that the angel no longer is in possession of the cube sooner or later anyways. And while you don't have to go and like me, as I don't expect for any of you to actually like or trust me, Kibi continues, but right now within this very moment in time, you will ultimately need someone who understands the monster that you are up against, as we were all forged within Lord Raijin's shadow, and because we all were, Kibi continues, we would be the ones who would ultimately know his judgment while creating confusion around him. And so please let me be the one to create this misdirection that buys you all the time that you need, Kibi says, for I am not asking for you to go and surrender your mission here to me either, but I am simply rather offering you all a path for us to go and move ahead, in a path that I believe that Raijin won't see coming, and having me go and buy you all the additional time that you need in order for you all to go and come up with a good enough plan that will finally be what stops them. As Goku went on to then address everyone by then responding, I see. Well, even though we are all seemingly having to run on borrowed time here, since there's no telling on how Whis is doing out there against him, I think that it just might be worth a shot if we go into— have you completely lost your mind here or what? Vegeta went on to then cry out by responding, because there is no chance that we will ever allow for scum like you to go and lay claim to what that monster is looking for, because how do we know that you just won't go and turn it in for him once you have ultimately had went and tricked Kakarot here into handing it over to you? Vegeta questions. No chance, demon, you hear me? And so even if what Kakarot says here about you is to be taken as truth, Vegeta continues, then how exactly can the rest of us be so sure in having to trust you when this could all simply be a ploy in having to get this cube on over to your dark leader, once you have simply went and having to go and convince us in handing this over to you? With an annoyed Kibi then having to quickly respond, well, even though I may be a demon by blood, that doesn't mean that I agree with what the Dark Masters and what Lord Raijin are doing in having to create chaos all throughout the multiverse, including within the demon realm itself, which is why I will not go and allow for you to go and talk down to me, as if you somehow have went and convinced yourself in believing that you know me better than I know myself, Saiyan. And as my survival depends on his failure just as much as yours does, and if I truly had intended to go and betray all of you, Kibi continues, then I simply would have just kept Goku locked away within the abyss instead of having to go and risk my existence to help bring him back into this world and save him, and by that very extension in having to go and save all of you as well, with Goku having to be here to help you, Kibi says. So even though I am not asking for you to go and believe me, what I am asking for is to have you trust me, as I wouldn't go and be doing this and risking my life in opposing the the Dark Masters and Lord Raijin, and if I simply didn't believe in my heart that what they are currently doing is going to result in the utter destruction of us all if they aren't stopped, with Goku then having to respond, listen to me, because while I know on how you feel and would normally be right there with you and questioning every move that he makes, but Kibi's right about everything here, Vegeta, as this just might be the only real chance that we've got to buy ourselves some time, and so we can't afford to just go and throw it away just because we're not used to going and trusting someone like him, Goku adds, to which if Kibi is willing to go and risk his life so that we can go and buy some time and having to stall Raijin for just a little while longer, Goku continues, then we will simply have to go and take his word for it and take these moments while we still can in trusting him for the sake of protecting everything that we have been fighting near and dear to uphold, Vegeta. And so now I don't know on what exactly you have planned here, but I trust that you will go and do what needs to be done in order to go and hide this cube and keep it as far away from him that you possibly can, Goku says, while the rest of us go and having to figure out on how we can possibly go and set the Omni Kings free along with helping find the Grand Minister and the others. And so here, Goku says, go and take this and defend it with your life, because while I may not know on where you are going to be going and taking this cube, whatever you end up doing, just make sure that he isn't able to grab hold of you and having to go and rip that cube away from your possession, Goku says. And so I am trusting that you will go and keep this safe and away from Raijin for as long as you possibly can manage to go and do so, while me and the others in the meantime go and try to think of a way and having to go and use this to our advantage, so that way we can go and finally put an end to all of this once and for all. And so be careful, with Kibi responding, well, thank you very much for putting your trust in me to go and keep this safe and away from Raijin's ability to go and obtain Son Goku. And as my only worry from this point moving forward is that I don't wind up in having to disappear like how many of the other demons have went and disappeared via some kind of a random bottomless dark portal that had appeared beneath them. And so I will do what I must in order to go and ensure that this works, with Gohan then having to chime in, hey wait, and so when you say things like they just went and disappeared without a trace after being dragged under by some kind of a random bottomless portal, then you are meaning to tell us that this wasn't a direct result in having these demons simply return back into the demon realm, Gohan questions? Because if they themselves are not responsible for such a thing, and if Raijin or those Dark Masters aren't either, then what exactly is? With Kibi responding, well, I don't really know as to who or what is causing for such a thing to go and have happen, but something is going on that warrants our attention, and since Lord Raijin is the massive roadblock that is preventing us in having to learn about the truth of what is truly going on, along with having him pose as being the greatest risk to all life across the multiverse as we currently are to go and know of, I will go and do what I must. And so while there may not be enough time for us to go and get down to the very bottom of how we are to go and prevail here against them, Kibi continues, and I will further go on to offer you my helping hand in battle later if you need for me to go and do so, as I am first to go and make my way back into the demon realm into trying to go and hide this cube before I am spotted by anyone, which is a gamble that none of us here should ever be willing to go and take, Kibi continues. And so I will go and return to you all once I have successfully hidden this relic, because one way or another, whoever holds this cube on their person, Kibi adds, will ultimately end up in having to be targeted by Lord Raijin, regardless of who in fact may actually end up holding it, with Goku then having to respond, well, we're counting on you and trust you with this, Kibi, and so please don't make us regret in having to go and do this, because this is our one and only chance to go and do what we can to stop this, as we are going out of our way to go and place our faith within you. And so just try and stay in contact with us if you can without you having to be spotted in the meantime, with Kibi being shown having to turn around by responding, well, I will go on to do everything within my power to create a strong enough distraction so that Lord Raijin and the others are left with confusion whilst assuming that you are all carrying what he is looking for within the moment. And as even though it won't be as easy for me to simply go and contact you directly by simply having to go and click on a button or reading your mind and giving you an update, Kibi adds, but I will instead go and try to come back into your world by joining you in this battle against the Dark Masters and Raijin once I am able to go and find a good enough place to go and hide this cube from having them discover it, Kibi continues. And so we will go and stay in touch for the time being, but just please try to stay alive in the meantime, because if the rest of you are all to fall, Kibi says, then so falls our entire plan. And so for the time being, remember this message and good luck, Universe 7, as something within that very moment then began to dawn upon Goku, as Goku then went on to quickly address this to himself by then responding, wait a minute now, hold on. Goku then went on to proceed to say to himself upon being shown having to remove his fingers from his forehead, could that really end up being the key that will ultimately help us to finally go and put this madness to rest? Because although it's been quite a while since I was last seen having to wear it, maybe it's still there somewhere if I didn't already lose it, and that is simply because if it is, then that is is exactly what I will need that will help us break free and win, Goku says, with Vegeta then having to chime in. What's the holdup, Kakarot? Are you coming back to Capsule Corp with us and having to go and hurry and join the others and seeing on how bad the damage is that's been caused by those demons back on Earth? Or are you simply going to just stand there and daydream all day because we're running out of time, with Goku being shown having to turn around by responding, and actually on second thought, you guys go and make your way back to West City and I'll go and regroup with you all shortly after, since I just so happen to have remembered something really important that could actually be what saves us all. But in order for that to truly become a reality, Goku continues, then I will need to go back home first in order for me to go and check on something, as I will ultimately go and join you all soon once I'm able to find it if I can. And so now don't worry about me and let's just stick to the plan that we have so far in order for us to go and make sure that nothing goes wrong in the time that I am gone. And so I'll just go and meet with you all a little later on once I'm able to see if I still have it, with Beerus then having to be shown chiming in. Are you crazy? And just what exactly do you mean by having to just go back home and meet with us a little later on, Saiyan? And as what could possibly be so important to you that you feel the need to go and rush back home instead of having to join us on the front lines and wiping these creatures out once and for all, Beerus questions. And as I'm willing to go and bet that it's food now, isn't it? For you're going to go off and stuff your face first and you don't want the rest of us to find out, is that right? Well, actually, now that you've mentioned it, I would be lying if I said that I wasn't starting to get really hungry here, but no, because as much as I would love to go and just take a quick break and grabbing something to go and fill my stomach up with, Goku says, and I'm actually going to go and look for something, and even though I would really love to go and tell you all as to what exactly it is that I'm going to be going and looking for when I get back home, Goku says, and I think that it would be best if I don't go and mention anything here at all, since we'll never truly know on who's listening in on our conversations while we're here, and so it's better to go and avoid it having to go and let the enemy in on what our plans are going to be, Goku adds, and so you'll just have to go and trust me on this one, as I promise that I will try to make this as quick as I can. And so in the meantime, just try not to wind up in having to find yourselves fighting that demon god Raijin without me if he winds up having to come back again, but I promise that I'll go and make this quick, and so I'll go and see you all back at Capsule Corp in just a few, okay? So see you all in just a bit, gotta run, with Vegeta responding, are you insane? You can't be serious right now, Kakarot, and just what exactly are you... Oh, curse that idiot, Vegeta says, as this wasn't the right time, nor was it the right condition for him to go and take a break on us just moments before having to go and leave. As you better not have went and lied to us and actually have some kind of a plan here, Kakarot, or else you're going to wish that you hadn't went and just left us now, with Beerus then having to chime in. Well, what's done is done and the idiot's already left, and so it's best for us to go and take our leave back to Earth now before more of them start showing up around here, Beerus adds, which I'm already beginning to get extremely sick of, and so now let's hurry it up and trust that this idiot Goku knows what he is doing and didn't just go and leave us for nothing, with Vegeta having to then respond, oh fine, then we'll hurry it back and trust that he'll go and return to us with some kind of a strategy, because while we go and head back to Earth, there is no telling on what awaits us once we arrive, but once we do, then trust that it's open season for everyone who isn't aligned with us, and so that means as soon as we go and touch down, Vegeta says, don't go and hold anything back, and so let us do what it is that we have to go and do in order to go and make a statement known loud and clear, and so now grab on and let's go. Here now, Kaima, are you okay? For there couldn't have been any other way in having to go and detect that mortal from approaching us, because had he been spotted just seconds prior, Kyrax adds, then I have no doubt that he would have ultimately had been taken down before being given the chance to go and strike. And so what exactly do you think our next move is going to be, with Kaima responding, well, our one and only main objective here is to go and make sure that they are all destroyed, no matter what it is that we will have to go and do in order to make sure that this happens, Kyrax. But even now, while I observe these creatures from below, we may not be able to go and get very far with the Namekian here to help aid those androids in battle, and so we'll need to come up with a strategy, as Piccolo went on to address the androids by then responding, so what exactly do you make of those two down there? Are you actually able to go and take them both down, or would you need for me me to go and buy you both a little bit of time while you go and figure out on what you can do to try to go and stop them, with Ultra Android 17 having to then respond, well, they aren't stronger than how we are at this point in time. However, whatever they possess in terms of being able to wield paralyzing techniques, 17 says, just might end up causing a few issues here for us, but nothing that we won't be able to go and handle, and so we should go and take this time to try to attack them now before they wind up in having to go and try to do what they just did out here to us again, to which it was only just as the demon scientist Sugami was then shown having to appear was when Sugami then went on to address Kaima and Kyrax by then responding, now, fellow warriors, for there is no need to go and lose focus, as our battle here involving these creatures is still very much far from being over, and while I'm not exactly surprised by the outcome within this current situation here, Sugami continues, and I must admit that by watching these insects go and get the better of even our most refined hunters is quite irritating to say the
night, bro.
least.
Can't
But
find
don't proceed
no
in having
matches.
to go on to look so defeated here, fellow warriors, as I had anticipated that this universe was indeed actually going to express its resistance towards us, but this too, however, will not last forever, Sugami continues, and what I'm about to go and unleash onto them will mark the beginning of the end of Universe 7, and as well as also having this become the ultimate and perfect game changer for us moving forward, as since we had went and had sworn our very allegiance in winning Lord Raijin the day by vanquishing all of his enemies by any means, allow for me to hereby go and offer you both a helping hand of sorts by leveling out the playing field, which will undoubtedly have this battle go and lean within our favor in due time, Sugami says. And so to our fellow enemies who look down from above, I offer you this single and final warning before having to re-engage, Sugami continues, that while you may have went and lasted this long by enduring some of the many attacks that we had planned prior to having us arrive within your dying universe, what comes next will ultimately be something that none of you had prepared for prior, as my shadow demons from here on will ensure that you will not survive what's waiting for you ahead, but if you just so happen to do, then you will never go on to live to see another day in being the same as you are right now ever again, Sugami says. And so prepare for the worst, because this is where the tides will suddenly begin to slowly change within our favor. And so I would go and think twice about what you are all about to go and get yourselves into here if I were you, Sugami continues, upon now having to see Shadow Demon Vegeta and Shadow Demon Piccolo rise up from the ground, because my Shadow Demons aren't going to be as easy to go and take down as you would all like to assume for them to be, and on top of it all, there is but far more to these Warriors of Darkness than meets the eye, and so if you expect for this to end within your favor, then I regret to have to inform you all that it won't. But you don't have to simply go and believe me, as you will all come to see this for yourselves, as Piccolo went on to then shockingly respond, whoa, what? Please tell me that I'm seeing things down there or anything, because is that Vegeta on the left and me on the right? So these are what those shadow demons look like that are based around the ones that Goku had mentioned. Wait a second, Ultra Android 18 went on to then quickly interrupt, and so are you telling me that those demons can literally go and make copies of us through having us appear through those forms seen down below? As Sugami then went on to continue, oh indeed, but why stop there when we are only now just getting started, am I right? And so just in case if you truly thought that my shadow demons here were going to be all that I was going to go and bring upon you all here today, then you might want to go and turn around and double down on your collective efforts here against us, Sugami says, upon having to be shown spawning yet another Leviathan and being shown grabbing onto both 17 and 18 with Piccolo being left speechless. And as I hereby want to go and introduce you all to one of the many Leviathan giants that dwell within the demon realm, which I will guarantee you all here and now that you will not be strong enough to go and survive against. Zeros, you've got to actually be kidding me here, Piccolo shouts upon being shown charging up for his special beam cannon. Oh, well, no time then, and so hang in there, you two. I'm going to try to go and blast you both out of that thing's vice grip, but I may need a minute or two here. just so I can go and make sure that this No, I don't think so here, Namekian. Sugami went on to quickly interrupt upon having to see Shadow Demon Piccolo attack Orange Piccolo in the sky, because as you could see, Vermin, Lord Raijin had made sure to go and double down by ensuring our positions across the multiverse, and having to go as far as to ensure that we are successful here within our missions, and it's because I am willing to go and stake my life on the line in order to go and make sure that Lord Raijin's will is to be done without having us fail, Sugami continues. No matter how many of you go and decide to try to stand within our way, you will ultimately be met with fire and death along the way, and as I don't intend on going and letting Lord Raijin and the Dark Masters down, no matter how far I will need to go in order for me to go and prove it. Sirs, listen to me, 18. We can still go and muscle our way out of this thing's clutches and being able to go and free ourselves, but we'll have to go and act now while we still have the... Well, maybe the two of you must have already forgotten on who it is that you are fighting here, Kyrax went on to then immediately interrupt by having to be shown electrocuting both 17 and 18 alongside with Kaima. But Kaima and I here certainly didn't go on to forget it, and so therefore, I think that payback is in order, androids, as Kaima then went on to quickly respond. And before the two of you go and get any ideas here, just know that we aren't going to be standing for it. Not while we are still around, you aren't, and so I want you to go and feel every part of this, android. And as I want you to go and feel every bit of the exact same levels of pain that you had went and put me through since coming here, Kaima went on to continue upon still being shown electrocuting Ultra Android 18. And I promise you that so as long as our great and mighty Leviathan giant is able to go and keep you within his clutches, then I am going to continue to go and use everything that I possibly can in order to go and fry you until there is nothing left of you but particles just blowing within the voids of darkness. Oh dear, this isn't looking good for any of them out there, and unless we are to go and do something soon to help them, Bulma continues upon being shown having to oversee the battle from below, then they won't be able to go and last much longer out there without some kind of a helping hand, Bulma says. And so we'll need to go and do our part by sending out our Supercell prototype, because nobody had went and mentioned anything about them having skyscraper-sized monsters down there within the demon realm, Bulma continues. And so while we still have a little bit of time left, Bulma continues, let's hurry and open the gates and activate the Supercell defense program right now before those monsters wind up destroying all of us if we don't. Which it was only moreover as Orange Piccolo was then shown having to fall face down on the ground and having to now land directly in front of Sugami, was when Sugami went on to address Piccolo by then responding, and just like that, look how quickly you were shown having to go and be brought down onto your knees despite in having to believe in your foolish abilities to honestly be enough to withstand such an onslaught. Now you held on admirably, that much I will give you, Sugami says. However, in the end, you should have been far smarter than to go and choose to go and engage against my precious shadow demons the way you just did, as they were both barely shown in having to even have the need to exert themselves all that much and having to go and bring you down out here against them. And so what are you going to possibly try and hope to do against me now, Namekian? Well, I feel like ripping your head right off those skinny little shoulders of yours is what I really feel like doing here, demon, Piccolo says. And so just know that no matter what it is that you go and try and throw within our direction, you will never find yourself succeeding, no matter how many of these demons you decide to go and throw within our way. You hear me? With the demon scientist Sugami responding, such anger and such passion. Oh, I hear you loud and clear, Namekian. However, it's a shame that you couldn't go and forward this very attitude in joining Lord Raijin. But nevertheless, I just want for you to go and know that it has truly been a pleasure in having to go and deal with you here, Namekian. And so while I can't promise you that this will be quick and painless, what I will, however, go and promise you is that this will leave an everlasting... Oh, just hurry it up and get this over with then, Demon, Piccolo quickly shouts upon being shown spitting in Sugami's face. And as I could honestly go and care less about what your master's will and desires are, and so just hurry it up and get this over with if you are actually going to do it. And as I am honestly really starting to get sick of having to listen to you preach, with an angry Sugami then responding, how dare you? How How dare you go and spit in my face and act as though there isn't going to be any repercussions to follow? Well, not today, Namekian, and so now take from him what you will, as you are both free to go and tear this mortal apart as you choose, my shadow demons. And as I want for there to be nothing left of him by the time we are done here. But then, it was suddenly just then from out of nowhere, as both Shadow Demon Piccolo and Shadow Demon Vegeta were then shown getting knocked off Orange Piccolo, was when Sugami then went on to continue. What the? And just what in the world was the... Wait, no, it can't be. Oh, damn it, not now. But just how? For I should have known better than to go and think that the Namekian was going to be the last of them to go and get in the way of our plans after saving those androids up there, Sugami continues. And now with the others here and having them shown be standing together alongside the Namekian, I am going to need to have to hurry and change up our strategy going into this fight against them, Sugami continues, before we end up losing out on everything that we have been fighting to control and destroy along the way if something isn't done. As Beast Gohan went on to address Piccolo by then responding, "Hey, are you alright there, Piccolo? For we were able to go and sense the battle that you guys have been waging here while on Lord Beerus' planet, and so we came here as quickly as we could when we sensed your energy during the middle of combat," with Orange Piccolo responding, "Well, I'll be fine for now, but we can't go and allow for them to be given any chance to leave here when considering on how dangerous they are, and so we'll need to go and hurry and end this here on Earth rather than go and let them escape us later on," Piccolo says, with Sugami then having to then turn around by then responding, "Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Universe 7's God of Destruction Beerus and the savage brute that was seen waging war against that fallen angel Murno who goes by the name Broly. Oh, this is just bad," Sugami continues. "Very, very bad," as Kaima then went on to turn around by addressing the others by then responding, "There's more of them? But just how and where in the world did they just suddenly go and drop in from out of nowhere like this?" But then, it was only from within those very moments now from out of nowhere, as a barrage of rockets and missiles were then shown having to slam directly into the giant Leviathan, was when Ultra Android 17 then went on to quickly shout, "And just what the heck are those? Oh, well, never mind that, and so let's hurry and go and get out of Dodge here before we end up getting caught in the middle of these things, 18? Whoa, hey, wait a minute, look over there," Ultra Android 18 went on to then point out upon having to see Kaima and Kyrax being shown getting slammed by multiple missiles, as those missiles and rockets also seem to be smashing right into those other two demons as well over there. But hey, 17, hurry and turn around and having to go and take a look right behind you, to which as Ultra Android 17 did, it was only from within these very moments now, to everyone's shock, as Capsule Corp Supercell Max was then shown having to emerge from Capsule Corp and having to blast his way through. Our heroes were only then met by none other than a functioning cell unit that was built by Dr. Hedo and Bulma, as Ultra Android 17 then went on to quickly respond, "It's Cell, but just, or, I mean, it looks kinda like Cell, but are you seeing what I'm seeing on his chest over there too, 18? For I think this gigantic monstrosity of an android just might be on what Bulma and Dr. Hedo had been constructing and working on, while also having to go and mention something about activating him while we were in our stasis chambers, and so I think that this giant monster here is actually going to be on our side during this fight," 17 adds, "and so just go and take a look at him, for he is just as big as that Leviathan was shown in having to be, and the amount of missiles on this thing is just absolutely ridiculous, but at the same time, this was exactly what we will go and need in order to go and take these suckers down for good," 17 says, as Ultra Android 18 went on to then respond, "Well, I can't believe that I'm about to go and say this, but honestly, I'm actually rather glad that this giant man-made war machine is on our side for this one, and that is simply because I don't even want to begin to imagine as to what kind of firepower they went and added onto this one," as Beast Gohan then went on to chime in, "You've got to be kidding me, a good version of Cell, and he's actually on our side instead of having to go and attack us," Beast Gohan utters. "Well, if I didn't believe in miracles before, then Bulma and Dr. Hedo sure did a good job in turning me into a believer now, because just look at that thing," with the demon scientist Sugami having to then respond, respond. This is now beginning to spiral out of control far quicker than anticipated, as Lord Raijin had given explicit orders that if things had escalated beyond our control, that I am to go and unleash everything that I possibly can if it means in having to ensure our victory, because we will not be able to go and survive this if this goes on to continue the way that it currently is. For their strength isn't static, which means that they are learning from one another in real time, and if we go and give them much breathing room here going forward, then they will ultimately go and find a way to unify into something far worse than what we have faced so far, which is exactly what we were trying to avoid, as I was hoping to go and avoid this contingency. But deploying everything now means that we are on the brink of losing everything that we have been striving towards in building, Sugami continues, as I will not go and allow for that to stand given what we were just able to go and collect throughout the time of having our demons scout their universe. So while I may not exactly know on where some of our most valuable and powerful demon fighters have suddenly disappeared into, Sugami went on to continue, unless they have somehow had already been destroyed by now, then the longer these vermin are allowed to coexist in bringing aid to one another, then the more troublesome they will grow to become, and if that ends up happening, Sugami continues, then I have no doubt that we will end up losing if we allow for this to go and continue. But where are the others, Sugami questions? Where are some of my elite warriors, and just where in the world are the Dark Masters? As I am being left with no other choice than to go and use what lies within our reserves if these mortals continue to go and push back against us like this, Sugami continues. For our mission is to go and remain lest we warrant to go and be annihilated by Lord Raijin if we are to go and fail, and if that ends up being the case, Sugami says, then I must go and draw upon and call forth yet another one of my shadow clones in order to help even out the battlefield. And so, if those mortals are looking to go and try to take me out first, then I'll go and make sure to go and take a massive piece of them alongside with me if that's what these little vermin are looking to go and try to do. As no matter what it takes, I will go on to stake my life that Lord Raijin's will is to be done unto this and every other world beyond it, whether I am destroyed within the process of this battle or not, Sugami says, as Beerus went on to then address Sugami by having to then chime in. Now, I wouldn't go and be too hasty here if I were you, because whatever you think is going to honestly be enough to go and stop us won't be remotely near in being what will ultimately be enough to actually go and put us down here, demon. And with Broly here as my go-to monster who is waiting for me to go and give him the orders to attack you, whatever it is that you are getting ready to go and bring out and unleash against us here isn't going to work, Beerus says. But since your arrogance appears to be what is guiding you down this path of destruction here against us, it'll only be a matter of time before I go and set this monster loose onto you, and trust me when I say you will not be ready for what he is all about, demon, with Sugami responding, yes, well, as powerful and as fearsome as your title across many worlds is known for, I could go as far as to reassure you that we are more than ready, willing, and are able to compete against such beasts such as the one whom you are standing next to within the moment. However, God of Destruction, and I hope that you aren't going to go and underestimate what we are still very much capable in having to go and do here, Sugami continues, as I say that to say that just because you end up finding yourself being backed by an unrelenting monster of a mortal doesn't always mean that he is truly capable of having to go and get the job done here against us, because with another one of my many shadow demons having to now join in on all of the action here against you, I wouldn't go and start issuing out warnings just yet, for there is still much more for us that is left that I am eagerly awaiting to go and show you, Beerus. As if you still wish to go and doubt what we from the demon realm are truly capable of and having to go and do, Sugami says, then go ahead and step right up and I will gladly be happy to show you in the meantime. So that was what you had went and done with our blood when you managed to go and get one of your very own to come and take samples of our DNA when you did, huh? Well, alright then, but this one here is going to be mine and mine alone to go and take down, so whenever you are ready, Gohan continues, then I want you to go and show me as to what you're really made of, and I'll be happy to go as far as to show you on why you could never surpass the original. And since I already know that what is standing before me isn't going to be a simple cakewalk of a battle, Gohan adds, what I will, however, go as far as to tell you by the time that this is over, only one of us here will end up in having to be the last one standing out here, and that someone is going to be me, and so now let's go. to which it was only within that very moment, as both Gohan and Shadow Beast Gohan had wasted little time in having to collide, was when the demon scientist Sugami then went on to quickly chime in. Oh, this isn't good, for I never would have expected to go as far as to be forced in having to go and use this shadow demon against these mortals this early, for his synchronization isn't as perfect as the others. However, it appears as though he is still able to hold his own out there, as this is far from an ideal situation to have us go and be in within the moment, Sugami continues, for these mortals are far more composed than I had originally anticipated for them to go and be, as they have went and seen this kind of threat before, as that much is obvious by the way they are all seemingly having to go about this situation together. And so because of that very fact, I must hurry and try to think of a counterattack against them fast, because if they are somehow able to go and discover a method in going as far as to go and take my army down, then I'm going to, just so that we are clear here, Beerus interrupts upon having to see Sugami turn his head by noticing Broly and Beerus, with Beerus having to then chime in. Let me be the first to go as far as to hereby now remind you that if I truly wanted to, I could destroy you with the slightest flick of my wrist when compared to some of your more troublesome allies who are currently out there. But don't you worry, because I have special plans for you, demon, because you see, Beerus continues, I was actually having quite the pleasant day before you and your horde of outlawed rejects had went and decided to go and ruin all of that for me, and so I just want you to know that I just relish at moments such as these, and especially when fools like yourself finally go on to realize on how small and how insignificant they truly are, just before they wind up going and getting exactly what is already owed to them. And so now, do you see this pitiful excuse of worthless existence that is standing here before us, Broly? For this is one of just many worthless parasites who plan to erase everything that you cherish, Beerus continues, and as these very plans just so happen to include your friends, your peace, and your very existence, which are all on the line here, as this one here aims to rip it all away from you, which is why he came onto this world to begin with here, Broly. However, since this creature here doesn't appear to fully understand the danger that he is currently up against, what do you say you ought to go and give this little worm a little reminder without having to go and take his life so quickly, Beerus adds, in going as far as to punish this worthless excuse for a life form by revealing to him the fruits of your incredible battle power now, will you? Since he clearly now appears to not get the message here, Broly, and so now go, to which as Broly was then shown exactly having to go and do, this had now became the exact moment where full-powered Super Saiyan 3 Broly was then shown having to reignite his power onto the surface, as Beerus then went on to quickly continue. Good, just like that, Saiyan, but do remember that he doesn't just threaten you here, mortal, but this creature here just so happens to threaten those whom you also hold dear, along with your allies and the ones who have accepted and trusted you, Broly. And so now why don't you go as far as to go and show this monster that mortals, just like demons, can ultimately be just as brutal and just as bloodthirsty and ruthless as they portray themselves to be, to which as Broly was then shown having to dash directly towards Sugami, the demon scientist Sugami had absolutely no response as to what he was about to go and face in Super Saiyan 3 Broly, as Sugami then went on to quickly shout, wait, just hold on there for just a moment, as I am not a warrior here, and so just wait a minute and give me a chance to go and summon a warrior who is far more capable of giving you the challenge that you are looking for, and that is simply because I am not worthy enough in going into now. I wouldn't go and listen to him here if I were you, Saiyan. Beerus went on to then immediately interrupt upon having to see Broly uppercut Sugami in the stomach, for you had went and heard it yourself out there from his very own mouth when he had laid out exactly on what it was that he was looking to go and do to everyone here, Broly. Beerus continues, and since he is trying to go and cover his tracks by going as far as to even lie directly to your face about everything that it was that he had just went as far as to mention, what do you say you go and give this delusional creature here a small taste by showing him on exactly why his dreams of wiping out your future is but a foolish one, Saiyan? To which this of course had now ultimately become the case, because as soon as Broly was then shown having to slam Sugami all throughout the landscape and having to pummel him city by city block and being shown having to slam him through multiple buildings, was when Beerus then went on to quickly continue. Oh yes, now that's the kind of violence that I was hoping to go go and see from you, and so just like that. So now continue slamming that fragile little skinny body of his through as many of those buildings that you can, Beers continues, as I want for that fool to go and feel every little bit of this before we go off and destroy him shortly after, and so keep going and don't stop, Saiyan. To which it was only in the meantime as the giant Leviathan from that point elsewhere was then shown having to completely stand back up and targeting the Ultra Androids was when Ultra Android 18 then went on to quickly shout, "Oh no, watch it 17, for we'll need to go and try to come up with a plan to sidetrack this massive demon first, before it's able to go and grab hold of us like it was just shown in having to go and do again, and so now hurry and brace yourself because," but then, it was only just within this very moment before the Leviathan had the opportunity and having to go as far as to attack the Ultra Androids was when CC Supercell Max was then shown having to ram himself directly into the Leviathan as Ultra Android 17 then went on to quickly respond, "Wait a minute there 18, as I believe that with this massive Cell Max Titan and having to go and target the giant Leviathan, this could end up being our one and only chance to go and take those other two demons down while the Leviathan is distracted. And so now while we still have the chance, let's hurry and go after these two while keeping them separated from one another," 17 continues, as this very well just might be our one and only chance in having to go and destroy them, which lies in having to keep them both apart, and so now let's go. To which of course it was only just upon with Ultra Android 17 and Ultra Android 18 having to now clash with the elite demons Kyrax and Kaima was when Ultra Android 18 then went on to respond, "Well, it's like I said, just do what you need to go and do, but just make sure that you go and leave this one up to me,"
should start in 2 minutes.
Says, to which it was only all the while in the meantime back down below as Shadow Demon Piccolo was from that point then shown having to overtake and attack Orange Piccolo, with Orange Piccolo being shown having to lose was when Gohan then went on to quickly shout, "Oh no, Piccolo, you'll need to try and muscle your way out of having that thing go and try to control the pace of your battle here against it, because while me and Vegeta go and take care of these other two Shadow Demons," Gohan continues, "you'll need to go and hurry and try to maintain some kind of control over that thing before it goes and finds a way to overtake you," with Orange Piccolo being shown having to then respond, "Well, I'm trying here, Gohan, but don't worry about me and just focus in having to go and deal with that demon that you are currently fighting against, and as I won't stand to go and allow for these monsters to overtake us despite in having us be the originals behind what these things are made of, and so while I go and hold this one off, just make sure that the Shadow Demon that you're currently fighting against doesn't manage to somehow go and find a way to intervene in any of our battles here against these things, because they seem to work far better together when hunting and attacking their targets in packs," Piccolo says, "and so I think that if I were to go and try to create enough space here between us, then I believe that I could—" Wait, surely my blasts aren't just going to— "Oh, you've got to be kidding me," Piccolo continues upon having to see his blast go right through Shadow Demon Piccolo, "for my attacks were shown in having to simply tear right through him with no damage that was
Let's try to get this W. This guy gets third form. That's gonna suck. Come right here, bro. Go somewhere else. Maybe one more cube to get my level 2. Fuck yeah, I'm just gonna head to E. Yeah, it's level 3. Need like 4 large cubes. Someone said that D key for me. This guy's crying for the Dragon Balls. Ain't nobody giving him the ball. This guy's in C. You have no choice but to try to find the key anyways. Or Dragon Ball. This guy got his level 4, unfortunately. Come on, Krillin, why didn't you save this man? There's the last ball. Oh well, he tried. I think I'm gonna go to bed soon, guys.